Hey, what's going on, everyone? Miller. So the boss texts me a couple days ago and says, hey, there's a band you should check out. It's a blackened thrash band out of Philadelphia. It's like, sure, I like a nice blackened fish entree, and I certainly love my thrash, so why the hell not? The band is Devil Master. The album, Ecstasies of Never Ending Night. Now, this band, like I said, is from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They formed in 2015. This is their second release, full-length release anyway, under Relapse Records. And it's a blackened thrash. It's about what you would expect with that. The members of this band, I'm going to have to look, because they're not real names. So, we have, on the bass and vocals, Disembodied Through Unparalleled Pleasure, on bass and vocals. Festering Terror in Deepest Catacomb is playing drums and does keys. Darkest Prince is on guitars, and Infernal Moonlight Apparition is on guitars. Right. The opening track, it really sets that mood. It's just a dissonant guitar with those minor chords, the blackened thing going on, setting up the whole album. And it's cool because this intro piece does tie back around, and something I'll bring up later. Now, that first song flows directly into the first real song of the album, which is Enamored in the Throes of Death. And this, if blackened thrash has a song, then this would be it. It fits that description to a T. It's blackened, it's thrashy, it's very like, I don't know if you blackened Anthrax, if that's a thing, I don't know. And with this first song, you get those vocals that are very screamy, not that you can't understand it. It's a type of vocal styling that's typically in like a black metal, but you can understand what he's saying, and he doesn't have that that thing going on that I've griped about so much in the past. There isn't any of that, so it's kind of relieving, and it's nice to listen to. I don't mind the vocals on this for once. The third song on this album, Golgotha's Cruel Song, is almost like, it's like a blackened punk. I don't know if that's a thing. It probably is. It should be. If we're subcategorizing the shit out of metal, why not? But it's got a cool vibe to it. Like I said, it's like a blackened punk, kind of old school punk, not like 90s punk where it wasn't really punk, it was just alternative rock. I'm talking like real punk, 80s punk. And most of the songs on this album really take to that blackened thrash. They do a lot of thrash on here. It's good. The only problem I have with it is that there's the snare is either always on the quarter or always on a half. There's not much variation in between there as far as the snare. There's also not variation in the tempo. Seems like they again stick to that one tempo throughout the whole thing. So when you get an album that's predominantly quarter note snare hits, it's just after a while of bang, 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 just consistently, it kind of grates on you a little bit. Oh, the middle of this album, song 6, Abyss Envision. This is not any of the categories that this band has been labeled thus far in the review. This is a completely different song. It's got a real psychedelic rock jam to it. And it's not thrashy, it's not blackened, if that's a thing. I hate that term. It's really a psychedelic rock jam, and there's no vocals in it, and I love this tune. That could be that I dug this song so much because I just got done listening to a guilty pleasure of mine, if you will. It's King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, which is a total stoner psychedelic rock band. That could be why I latched onto this song, or when this Abyss Envision came up, my ears perked up. I was like, oh, is this the same album? Is the album already done? Really cool jam. My favorite track of this album, and it's not even what they're really classified as doing. It's a great tune. It's a great jam. It's got a really cool vibe to it. It's kind of got the vibe and feeling of like you're in a state of perpetual like wonder or anticipation, if you will. It's a really cool vibe, and this song I added it to my kind of chill playlist. That's how much I liked it. Once you get into the later part of the album, like song 8, Funerary, Geir of Dreams and Madness, it starts to get plagued by that, what I was saying, the tempo being consistent and the snares always on the 4s, and bop, 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 bop. And the drum beat doesn't really change. When there's a thrash moment in there, the drum beat is typically the same. It's a stereotypical thrash drum beat. Precious Blood of Christ Rebuke starts out with a cool intro that falls into this really kind of cool riff, but it's the intro. At the end of the intro, they kind of break it up with real stop riffs, like everything stop, start, stop, start. It's real cut, and then when it comes into that cool riff, it doesn't have the impact that maybe it should. And then with that riff, they play this really cool groovy part, and then they tag it at the end with these like stop, like gent kind of stops in the riff. They have this really cool idea on that one part of the riff, and then they break it up at the end, and it totally kills that riff. I kind of wish they wouldn't have done that and let that groove kind of ride out a little bit, because there's not a whole hell of a lot of that in this album. And I know it's black and thrash, it's not supposed to have groove, but why stick to that if you can really hone in on something? If you got the riff that's going to fit a groove, then why just put some weird beat over it or idea just because to fit into a category or whatever? I just didn't know why they wouldn't have take it down a little bit and groove it out, get some feeling in there besides the same kind of feeling that they've had throughout the album. And the last song, Never Ending Night, it's not too much of a black and thrash thing at all. It's more of like a grunge rock sound. Maybe, I don't know if they wanted to end it on a happier note or something. It does a good job of tying around to the intro and at the end and fading out and completing the album. And it really does feel like an album, which is awesome. But it is a little different than what is on the rest of the album, similar to what the song 6 was. It's kind of not as misplaced as Abyss Envision, but it's got a grungier feel to it for sure. This is very accessible as an album for people that are, maybe not sure of the whole black and thrash or even what the hell that means. This is a good album to dig into that, and kind of you get those hints of things, and you can kind of understand what they mean by like blackened. So I'm not big into like the super subgenres of stuff. Metal does need to be classified and broken off into a few different things, but it's getting a tad ridiculous to me. But if you're into those super subgenres of things, like I said, this is a good album to pick up, and it was a good listen, considering that I don't get into a lot of the blackened stuff. It's a solid listen. So I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. Which is a good score for me. It was, like I said, a solid listen. I enjoyed the listen. I really enjoyed that stoner kind of jam they had in the middle there. It's got a really cool feeling to it, and totally puts you in like kind of a chill mood. The tempo doesn't change much, and honestly, the lack of vocals, you can hear in bands where the vocalist plays an instrument, because there's usually a lot of space without vocals, and I get that, and I'm normally okay with that. But in this stance, I kind of dig the vocalist, whatever the hell his name is. I dig his vocals, and I kind of want to hear more of it, which is a little odd because I've been getting on vocals a lot lately. But this guy's got a really cool kind of spoken word voice that he does. He's got a really good voice for that. And he, like I said, he sings well for this type of music, and he doesn't do that thing that's so annoying to me. I really wanted to hear some more of what he would have to offer on this album. So that would be why it knocks it down a little bit. I would like to hear more vocals, a little variation here and there with especially the snare hits, because when they're consistently on those one or two things, it drags a little bit. And it kind of gets pingy toward the end of the album once you're hearing that ping, 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 just constant, But like I said, if you're into maybe just wanting to poke around at some of these subgenres, weird subgenres of music, check these guys out. Don't get scared by the fact that the names are a little off, and they got the makeup, they got the black metal thing down. Don't pay any attention to that. The music is what is important, and their music is good. So, as usual, hit the like button. Let me know in the comments, did you guys listen to this? Did you pick it up? I have never been aware of the band before this, and like I said, I dug the album, so I'm going to go back and listen to their other album and see how it compares. But yeah, we got shirts too. thrallsofmetal.com. Here's that shirt right here. It's a pretty badass shirt. And we are working on something behind the scenes pretty big. We're going to make an announcement here soon. Got a meeting tonight regarding that. So we're really close to making an announcement. I'm sure at this point you guys are all wondering what the hell is going on. We will fill you in. So hit the notifications button and subscribe if you haven't, if you want to hear the big next step in the Thralls of Metal. But until next time.